Okay. Tap that screen, y'all. Tap that screen. Tap that screen, y'all. Tap that screen. All right, cool. We live on Twitch and Facebook, and we live on the YouTubes. Cool. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Go ahead and tap that screen. Tap that screen. Hey, appreciate that. Whoever joined the fan club, I do appreciate that. All right. All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all being here. Y'all go ahead and tap that screen. Happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month, of course. Happy Black History Month. I hope y'all enjoying y'all day. I hope y'all enjoying this, the beginning of this month. Hope y'all's is enjoying the beginning of this month. And we just waiting for calls to come in, all right? Well, cool. We do got a guest. I'm going to go ahead and pause the music because we got a guest. We're going to go ahead and bring them on up.
Hello.
All right. How's it going? Can I get your name, age, and did you want to talk about what I had on the board?
Yeah, my name is John, and I'm 18.
How you doing, John? What did you want to talk about?
It says, why should black people, wait, where was it? It said black people should get reparations.
Yes, Black Americans should get reparations. Well, all black people, but
In what
yeah,
form?
black Americans should get reparations. Yes, sir.
In what form?
And what?
What way should they get reparations?
It should be changes to systems, and I would agree with cash reparations to black families as well.
Well, how much money are you talking about? Like, is it for everyone or just for certain, like, economic demographics?
It would be specifically for African Americans.
I feel like the problem with that is that would just be like more imbalance through the government.
That'll be what?
That would just cause more imbalance.
How so?
Well, I mean, the government doesn't specifically go out of their way to benefit anyone right now. So why should they go out of their way to give money to one demographic?
Because that the government is the one that damaged the African American community. So why shouldn't they repair it?
But this was like a very long time ago. I don't think they're still doing damaging things. 40
years ago is not that time. It's not that long of a time, and they are still doing damage because the war on drugs it specifically targets black people, or overwhelmingly targets African American communities and black people.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know what? What happened? Why'd you get off? Why'd you get off? We were having what happened? Bro, we were having a regular conversation. What the why'd you get off? I don't know why'd you got off, man. Like we were having a normal conversation. What happened? It seemed like things were going well. It seemed like things are going well. All of a sudden he just said, I don't know, and just, hung up. What happened there? All right, y'all. So keep tapping that screen. Keep tapping that screen. Like I said, I appreciate you all being here. Oh, I got to get back to the studio. I appreciate you all being here. If you disagree with what I have on the board, or if you like to talk about what I have on the board, go ahead and either call in or just hit the request button. All right. So Eric says that we already got reparations. I don't agree.
Oh, boy.
All right, Eric. You said that that we already got that Black Americans already got reparations. How so?
Yeah. The Reconstruction is south. You got them then. You got the 40 acres and the mule and all the farming equipment, everything you could ever want.
The 40 acres and the mule didn't happen.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Actually, you're right. It did happen. And then what happened after that?
There was an election. It was Hayes Tilden. Hayes, the Republican Party that was formed to free enslaved Americans.
Hold on. I don't think
He
you
went
understand.
against Tilden.
Wait, hold on, Eric. I don't think you understand. Eric,
Let me finish.
I don't think you understand my question. Eric, you didn't understand my question. Eric, you didn't understand my question. You didn't understand my question. I actually gave it to you that 40 acres and a mule happened. Then what happened after that? Because Andrew Jackson came in and took it away. Correct? I'm gonna unmute you. Go ahead and unmute yourself. So after Andrew Jackson came in and taking them away, which means that reparations didn't happen.
No.
Yes.
Andrew Jackson was before the end of the Civil War.
Yeah, he was before the Andrew Jackson was before the end of the Civil War.
Yeah, way before.
I'm not sure that's true, man.
All right, trust me.
I mean Johnson. Sorry about that. I meant Johnson. Y'all all right?
No, they tried to impeach him because he wouldn't do it.
I was trying to correct you. It's Andrew Johnson, the president during Reconstruction.
Andrew Johnson. Yeah, right. So reparations
and then
didn't
after
happen.
him was Grant. And then after him was Grant, and after Grant it was Hayes. Hayes and Tilden. Tilden was the Southern Democrat, right?
Mm-hmm.
They tied. They had a tie. Never happened before.
I'm talking about the land that black people got. It was taken away from them, correct?
No. Yeah, but
it was taken away. Exactly. So reparations didn't happen.
By Democrats. Democrats took the land. It wasn't Republican.
Irrelevant.
The thing is, the argument wasn't Democrat or Republican. It was the fact that it got taken away.
That was the argument.
That's why you should be a Republican. Republicans gave it to you. They're like, yeah, man.
Wait a minute. So wait a minute. Look, Eric, I love when you say that because you're talking about the original Republican Party. So explain to me the Lily White movement. Do you know what the Lily White movement is?
It sounds great. Tell me some more.
The Lily White movement is when white Republicans actually, in cahoots with Southern Democrats, eradicated the black Republicans out of the Republican Party. That's why, if you ever noticed throughout history, throughout the 1920s, all the way up until about the 1960s and 70s, there are no black Republicans whatsoever. Because of the Lily White movement. That charge was led by Herbert Hoover. Do you know who Herbert Hoover is?
Mm-hmm.
He was one of those prominent Lily Republicans. Howard Taft was too as well.
I never heard of this.
Yeah, it's a whole movement. I promise you, I'm not lying about it. Look it up. The Lily White Republicans. These are the people that were responsible for eradicating all of those famous black Republicans y'all love to cling on to in the late 1800s and early 1900s. They eradicated them in the 1920s and made sure they were obsolete. That's why the only prominent black Republican you can think of from 1920 to 1960s, Edward Brooke. He was considered a liberal Republican because he was a Rockefeller Republican.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to look this up.
Right, I know you have to look this up. I know you have to look this up because it's not.
I've never heard of this.
Right, I understand, Eric.
I swear, I wouldn't lie to y'all.
No, I know about the Lily White movement. I know exactly what you're talking about. The reason why you never looked this up, Eric, is because our education system doesn't teach this. They teach that there was slavery, it was bad. Martin Luther King came in and ended racism. That's what they teach. They don't teach all the complexities about it. Right, so they don't teach all the complexities about it. Which is why I have up here that black Americans should get reparations, because it wasn't about who took if it was Democrats or Republicans. It was the fact that it was taken away.
It was Democrats.
Irrelevant. It was taken away. So black Americans should get reparations. It was also Democrats who did hold on. It was also Democrats who did redlining, which is the main reason that black Americans should get reparations, because of redlining. But you don't see me saying up here that black people should be Democrats. I don't think we should be Republicans, because right now, the party that the Schnazis vote for are the Republicans, not the Democrats. So why should we be part of that?
Yeah, because there's no Nazis there's no schmazis on the Epstein list.
Well, we don't even have to put the Nazis. The Republican Party still flies the Confederate flag.
Hey, Eric, does the Republican Party still fly the Confederate flag?
I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a problem.
No, you can go to any southern state and they still fly the Confederate flag, and it's done by Republicans.
So did Clinton and Gore in their re-election. So that's just saying.
No, it's not.
Who gives a shit about what? That bothers you that they fly the Confederate flag?
Yeah, because the Confederate flag was the country. The Confederate flag was the country of slavery. Why would we fly that?
And who fought and died to free you?
You're not answering the question. You're not answering the question. Yeah. I know I'm an ungraceful bastard. Actually, the Haitians freed themselves. And the African Americans actually freed themselves too. African Americans freed themselves. They were fighting all the time. Yeah, they did. You ever heard Nat Turner?
So do you ever think African Americans weren't a part of the Union Army?
he surely does.
I think
Yeah, exactly.
What's that?
I know he does. African Americans were part of the Union Army. There were also multiple slavery votes throughout American history. So African Americans freed themselves.
Maybe.
Oh, now
what do you mean, baby? Literally, African American soldiers.
I can't. I have nothing to say to dispute that. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're wrong. I don't know. That's all I'm saying. Is I don't know. But then why was everything taken from you? How did they take it from you? You didn't decide to then when you had your own shit, you decided to just give it up?
Who gave it up? It was government policy. It was the same thing with Greenwood. Greenwood, which was Black Wall Street over in Tulsa. The reason why it doesn't exist right now is because of government policy. It's not because Black people gave it away. What are you talking about?
Because Democrats took it from you. Every time you guys get a leg up, the Democrats come up and
eminent domain in Tulsa. Eminent domain in Tulsa wasn't done by Democrats. Not only that, all of those what's that thing called? The areas, the towns, sundown towns. All those sundown towns, because the thing is, Republicans love to do this, right? Y'all love to say, oh, Black people are Republican, et cetera, et cetera. And the KKK was started by Democrats, all that good stuff, right? Do you know what sundown towns are?
I've heard of them.
Okay, sundown towns, right? Where were the majority of sundown towns?
South.
Right down south, I would imagine.
That's actually a misconstrued that we have with history. Most sundown towns were in the Midwest.
Okay.
And who was controlling the Midwest during that time? They still control it today, as a matter of fact. Republicans.
And the Democrats. You guys support
Republicans were all over the Midwest. Republicans were all over the Midwest.
Reparations.
Hey, Eric,
when you're talking about Midwest, you're kind of like talking over that Oklahoma territory.
Hey, Eric.
And
the Midwest is red now, and it was red back then.
Who's the
majority Republican?
Who's the governor of Wisconsin?
You do realize the Midwest is more than Illinois, right? That's not the Midwest. When he's talking about the Midwest, he's talking like over Oklahoma. So like Kansas.
That's the West.
Nebraska.
Oklahoma's not the West.
Considered the Mid.
Jesus
Oklahoma is still the Midwest. Oklahoma is still. You can consider Oklahoma either the tip of the southern or like, but it's still considered Midwest. And the thing is, even if we talk about, because I'm glad that you brought up Democrats in that time period back and with the eradication of like all those types of Black communities that happened like in the 1920s. Who was the president for majority of the 1920s?
It doesn't matter who the president was. They didn't have any power back then.
What do you mean? So Calvin Coolidge did not have power in the 1920s.
Not like the president does nowadays.
Oh my!
Oh Jesus Christ! Really? Oh, man, do we need to?
I think we just got to move on. If Calvin Coolidge was a Democrat, you would have said he had all the power in the world, and he did nothing to stop it.
He definitely would have.
Silent Cal. I don't think he did shit the whole time he was there. Did he do you guys wrong? Did he do you dirty? I don't know.
Well, Calvin Coolidge allowed the KKK to march in Washington, so.
Who started the KKK? Who got rid of the KKK?
It was a bipartisan organization.
Who brought back the KKK?
That was Woodrow Wilson. He revived them. You're most definitely right on that one. That's why we called him KKK Woody.
Yeah. But
what was he again? Was he a Republican, that bastard?
No, he was a Democrat.
No. Ooh.
Yeah.
The thing is, why do you tie yourselves to these parties as if they're the end all be all?
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious as to how you can. It seems like you, after a while, after like the fifth kick in the nuts, you'd be like, I'm not supporting people anymore.
Oh, that's great. That's great that you say that. So let's talk about Barry Goldwater then and how he opposed civil rights. So should we vote for Republican, even though Barry Goldwater even said himself that I would never support civil rights or African Americans?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. You see how your logic is making no sense?
That makes no damn sense, Eric. That makes no fucking sense.
I don't even know what civil rights are.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Or better yet, let's talk about another American independent or aligned himself with Republican.
He's a troll. I went ahead and dropped him. He's a troll. Yeah.
That logic just makes no sense. Well, he was a Democrat. I'm like, but I can bring up Republicans that also have shared the same ideology.
Yeah, exactly.
The exact same with positions of power.
Exactly. All right, Jay. I'm gonna go ahead and drop you just for a second, but I do appreciate you though. All right, brother. Appreciate you, man. All right, HNIC, how's it going?
Hey, peace. Good evening.
All right, I'm all right. Are you at least 18? And did you want to discuss something I had on the board?
Yeah, man. I'm in my 40s, bro. Number 3. I've been talking to a lot of folks about the idea of reparations for us, and I wrote down saying that we're going the wrong way of trying to get it, and it gets to where this kind of counterproductive, and kind of pissing in the wind type of aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Reason being is that I believe that going forward for slavery is going to be like it's a full course shot backwards over our heads. Truly believe that we should go for something that let's go for the things that are a lot relatively easier. For example, if you give reparations for like GI Bill.
Redlining, GI Bill and redlining. Yeah, that's I've always said that. I've always said
Jim Crow.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I've always said. I've always said reparations should be not just slavery, but redlining, Jim Crow, the war on drugs, mass incarcerations, black codes,
So what I've been fighting for, doing lives and things of that nature, is that we focus on those. Because if we go with slavery and then they'll mire us down and then they'll say, well, what about this? And I'm descendant of black. Say if we keep the eyes on the prize and saying that, all right, we still have grandparents or parents that are survivors of X, Y, and Z. And also when it comes to I've been really focusing on the GI Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Did research and everything else, and did lives and letting people know, hey, how they go about and get that information. But if we focus, at least have a beachhead. Like we need a Normandy first,
mm-hmm.
to where that we into and saying that, all right, we do let's say GI Bill, because there's a lot of backing for that, even people in the military, when it comes to rectifying that. The leads that were in the evidence, and it's a whole lot easier. I'd rather shoot a 3 or a layup than, as I said, the backwards, full course shot. You feel me?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, I 100% agree with that, because I've always said,
but I think a lot of people
my bad, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Man.
Yeah. I was gonna say, when it comes to reparations, I've always said that redlining, the GI Bill, war on drugs, things like that. Things that economically held back Black Americans and socially held Black Americans, especially when it comes to like education. I've always said one of the pilot programs in reparations could be like every single high school that was in a red line area or a majority Black high school that it's in a impoverished area. The pilot program should be having those schools turn those schools also not just high school, but a technical school as well. So every single student graduates with a trade, like LPN, CNA, electrician, plumber, HVAC, stuff like that. You know what I mean? So every single one of those kids will graduate with a trade, right? So even if the graduation rate is like 60% or something like that, still those 60% of students have a trade in their hands, and they can still go to college and everything like that. We're not stopping them from going to college. But let's say if something happens, life happens, they have to stay at home, or unfortunately, exactly. So they have something to back them up. Unfortunately, someone gets pregnant, they have something to back themselves up. You see what I'm saying? So it's those type of things. And not only that, let's say like a lot of these kids they just don't know what to do in college. They may not want to even go. They have a backup there. They be like, okay, I don't really know what I want to do in college, but I could go ahead and be a welder and get out of high school making $50,000 to $60,000 a year. That builds people out of poverty. And the other thing that I've said is that reparations would actually be relatively cheap, because if you think about it, is, are we going to give $100,000 to each individual Black American, or are we going to give it to families? I'm pretty sure a 5-year-old is not going to have a bank account to get $100,000, right? So it's going to go to their parents, right? That's a family right there. And if you do it that way, like reparations will probably cost about $500 billion a year for maybe 5 to 10 years. And it'll likely be all paid out. You see what I'm saying? So like these things can happen and they're feasible. And just like how you're saying, we should concentrate on things like redlining and Black codes, the GI Bill, the war on drugs, stuff like that. All these things are feasible, and they won't even hurt America's pockets. You don't have to do like $60 trillion a year or another crazy number. Like a lot of people just don't think that far. Is that all that makes sense, HNIC?
I hear what you're saying. When you were saying the idea of like $100,000, are you saying with cost or money that's sent to those families?
Oh, I mean, if we do cash reparations, like you can do $100,000 to Black families. You can do something like that. Yeah,
that's where I differ on that one. I don't believe in the idea of cash. I would replicate like what you'll see in the GI Bill, where it was supposed to be, housing. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be loans for school, mm-hmm. and then also for business. I believe that if you sell in that aspect and look at it from that aspect, because it's land, independence for business and making a living, and also education, that's where you get it to where that one, it's benefiting for the Black community and also for society, because you look at it, it's almost like a Marshall Plan, mm-hmm. like an African American Marshall Plan, and saying that hey, the carnage that was wrecked by what you had stated and I had stated, that right there has to be redeemed and also reconstructed without there being like some type of urban renewal where people get kicked out, like we've seen in like Cabrini Green and other places, but actual programs that gets it to where that there's a wealth that is built and rebuilt and that's sustainable. I'm not going to make reference to, of course, like, the Chappelle episode and everything, right? Mm-hmm. But you know what I'm talking about. But
I know
cash reparations, I'm more on the aspect. If you sell it in that aspect, you see that there would be more of a willingness of people like, oh, okay, yeah, I get that. Or, I say, hey, do you want to still walk downtown East St. Louis or downtown Austin, whatever it may be, and saying that, hey, this is why we need to do that. But there would have to be a massive campaign of looking at the history, especially, from the late 1800s till even 1980s, what had happened, to give reasons why.
Yeah, exactly. That's why people need to support HR 40. But the other thing that I would say is that the Chappelle skit is, I always take that as more of a joke, is because when we seriously look at the spending habits of Black people, especially specifically when it comes to African Americans, most of the money goes to necessities. Yeah, I mean, disposable income is like African Americans hardly has disposable incomes, unfortunately. So disposable income doesn't really gets kind of reinvested, but the rest of the money is really just spent on necessities. Housing, food, fuel, things like that. Not really spending on like Jordans and shit like that. That's like really rare when it comes to the spending habits of Black people. That's really when it's disposable income. You see what I'm saying? So I don't think the Chappelle thing would actually happen seriously, but I do understand that, because of the way that people think, it's more politically feasible to say that form it as a thing of, housing and business loans, like zero cost loans on, education and things like that. The reason why I would say just cash is because it's really none of our business how, people spend their money, but also because we know that through the research that we already have, that it will be spent well. I think there was a pilot program on single mothers. I think it was either in Georgia or California. It was either one of them or both. I think it was both. But like when they gave them, I think like $1,000 a month, no questions asked, just $1,000, they just gave it to them. They found that the majority of those women, what was happening now, not just this majority, every single one of those women spent that money either, paying off bills, going back to school, starting businesses, or getting or doing going part-time for their job so they can spend more time with their kids. You see what I'm saying? So the money that's going to get spent, the extra money they're going to get, it's going to get spent into something that's going to go and fuel the economy and fuel the African-American sphere, in my opinion. You see what I mean, HNIC?
I hear what you're saying, but if we want it passed, and also if you're saying that, helping out the African American sphere of influence and economy, going with business, housing, and then also schooling, free schooling, that would be something that we can have more of a guarantee instead of just, hey, we're going to give you cash. In a G versus 100 G's, totally different. You feel me? Mm-hmm. So it's best to make it to where that, hey, we invested in that aspect so that we can see that going. And also, of course, have guardrails where you got people that are, in programs to help people out with their businesses. And then you have it to where that, you make sure that there is career planning for the people that go to schools. And then also when it comes to the houses, I would say that there would be programs that gives cash for down payments. Mm-hmm. Yes. And things of that nature. But just cash payments, personally, I'm definitely not for that. I say mostly goes towards. Now, I tell you what, though, mm-hmm. if there is also with that reparations, when you look at from the private industry, because they had a lot to do with that as well when it comes to banks, insurance companies, National Association of Realtors, things of that nature. 100%. Then, okay, yeah, people can sue for cash reparations for that one. That, okay, cool. But when it comes to the taxpayers' money, and when it comes to government, I would say that, put into those programs to where the people say, oh, okay, it's harder to go against. Like, what, you don't want people to have business? What, you don't want people to go to school? You don't want people to have a home? Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder to get people to go against that. But when it comes to the cash payments, I say, yeah, go after, Wells Fargo, go after all these banks that, and insurance companies that had a clear hand in slavery and things of that nature, or of course, redlining and covenants that they had, race covenants like in Seattle and other places, mm-hmm. and then move on from there.
Yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that, because I do understand that cash reparations is a hard sell. I do understand that's a hard sell, but every time I bring up everything else, the programs that we can do with housing, reforming the entire criminal justice system, things like that, you get more and more people who would agree with those than just giving people cash. Now, the thing is, when the Japanese got reparations, they got straight up cash. You know what I mean? So I've always wondered what's the difference between us and the Japanese. And of course, we already know the issue is just racism. You know what I mean? They're thinking that black people are just going to spend it on bullshit, but like, it just doesn't match up with the data. You know what I mean? That's why I've always still held on to the cash, even though like I know it's not politically feasible.
And I hear what you're saying, and I know that people bring up the internment of the Japanese, but they paid the survivors, just like with the Holocaust and everything. They paid the survivors and everything. And this mm-hmm. is where I still would say that from it being something that has a more of a force multiplier, is that you put into wealth building programs, because the main thing is that they took away wealth mm-hmm. and our ability to build wealth and everything, wealth, especially like when, yeah. And so if we put into that aspect and say, hey, making those programs to where that they'd be able to build wealth off of what we know that was already taken away from us, mm-hmm. and then move on from there, and I think that would help out. Yeah.
I don't disagree with that. I don't have any beef with that. But hey,
I mean, it's almost like say for example, like I know I see the Haitian flag and everything. Mm-hmm. And much respect. I always tell my Haitian homeboys, much respect and pride. When it comes to Haitian Revolution, people really don't understand how important it was to the West, and also in Europe, and also when it comes to Latin America, and even American slavery and everything. Mm-hmm. But like suing the U.S. government, and also France, and even England, that's something that needs to be done because of them being forced into all these different horrible contracts and everything, and being locked out from being able to do trade and everything. Mm-hmm. Same thing. It's like, putting that lawsuit, and especially in the UN, and making sure it goes from there to help out there's wealth building programs for Haiti because of what happened.
Yeah, exactly. Because America also had its hand in making sure the poverty that Haiti goes through, like stealing mm-hmm. 1/4 of its gold and messing up with its institutions.
In 1913,
exactly.
With Woodrow Wilson, when they went in and mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I feel you, bro. And this is where, like, as I was saying, like the diaspora needs to have those conversations to where instead of there's beef between, and people are like, oh, you Haitians, me personally, I think that's mostly a local thing. It's mostly like probably from people from Florida, and already if you have people in different groups and everything, you're going to have divisions, and then they spread that divisions to other places, or even in New York. But if we look at it saying, hey, historically, what has there been connections and how those connections were built? And there was no internet, there was no text message and everything, but they were able to build and have a connection and have communication because they saw similarities. We have to revive that to where that instead of there being that infighting, the so-called diaspora wars, there's more of a collective aspect of saying, hey, you know what, let's build off of what you're doing, use that same language, and then move on from there.
Yeah, exactly. I've always said like diaspora wars are stupid. We need to actually make connections instead of arguing over, boat stops. That's shit is stupid. But yeah, man. Hey, HNC, I appreciate you. We're gonna go ahead and try to get some more people in here. And
already, man.
All right, appreciate you, man.
All right, peace.
All right, I did have a caller, but they went ahead and dropped out. I'm not sure why, but you guys can go ahead and call in. Phone lines are open, so anytime that you guys want to call in, I do see a lot of people in the comment section on both Deconstruction Junction and on my personal YouTube. Let's see. Yeah, we got comments from Silence and Violence, from Liberalism, Brain Cancer. We got a whole bunch of comments from y'all, but y'all out here being little meow little pussies, man. Why don't y'all call in? Yeah, I mean, we did have one person that called in, but okay, cool. Another person is calling in. Let's go ahead and talk. All right, 503. How's it going, 503? Can I get your name, age, and what did you want to talk about?
Yeah, my name is John, 37. I'm happy to talk about any of the topics on the screen or whatever.
All right,
I definitely come from a conservative perspective.
All right, cool. So just to reiterate all my topics on the screen, number 1, being woke is good. Number 2, systemic racism is real. Number 3, Black America should get reparations. Number 4, why should Black people be Republicans? Number 5, when was America great for Black people? Which one would you like to talk about?
Let me hold on one second, bud. Let me look at it real quick with my own eyes again. I guess I could argue Black reparations. I don't think Blacks should be Republicans. I'm really conservative, but I don't like the Republican Party, so I wouldn't advocate for them. Maybe I could argue systemic racism too. Any of them.
Yeah, sure. Systemic racism is real. It's been shown in multiple research that Black people face discrimination in employment, in real estate, in healthcare, even in education. As far as even as young as preschool, there's discrimination against Black children, and in preschool specifically against Black boys, as a matter of fact, where they're most likely to be criminalized even at that young age. So all this shows that systemic racism is real.
So for the purposes of the argument, your definition of systemic is just going to be that there's a measurable, like I've heard people use systemic to argue that there's got to be some kind of like political will behind it, some kind of policy behind it. But if it's going to be just that we can do social studies and find cases where certain groups are getting oppressed more than others, I would imagine we could find that in pretty much every phenomenon that in society. But I would argue that it's not always going to be Black men getting it the worst, or even Black people getting it the worst.
Okay. How would you explain like what I brought up? How Black children, specifically Black boys, are seen to be as worse behaving, but they're literally doing the same exact behaviors as every other child in school. It's been shown multiple times, as a matter of fact.
So this is going to be a difficult one because I'm definitely a supporter of, studies, especially, hard sciences versus soft sciences. Studies can get a little bit weak when you really start to look at methodology and application or even population size of the study. But this is going to get hard because I am a teacher. I've got 15 years of experience in the field. And I've worked in the San Francisco Bay Area, the Seattle metro area, and now I work more or less in the Portland metro area. So I've gotten a taste of everything. There's very few Black students in Portland compared to the other places I've worked. But I would argue, brother, that my life experience is that the young Black students are not doing the same things the other students are. And if you've got studies that show that they're doing the exact same measurable behaviors, I would really love to see the methodology behind those studies because it's not my experience.
Honestly, I'm doubting that. You're saying that every single time you were a teacher for preschoolers or kindergartners, the Black boys were just worse, measurably worse than everybody else every single time?
No, obviously not categorically, because obviously, like, there's no study in the world that works that way. There's always going to be kind of a bell curve distribution of any given behavior. But yeah, absolutely. My experience in 3 different places, also working between like inner city, suburban, both like middle class, lower middle class, and like very well off suburban environments is, yeah, on average, my experience is that the young Black students are already more poorly behaved, even in young ages. I've never worked at preschool, but certainly by elementary school, in my experience, yeah.
Okay. And what age group were you teaching?
I most of my experience is with secondary, with middle and high.
Middle school and high school.
The vast majority. Yeah, vast majority of it. I've probably done a combined 3.5 years between like summer schools and in my early career doing elementary.
All right, 2 things. The behavior that you saw, how do you tell the behavior is either bad behavior rather than just cultural expression that you don't understand? How'd you tell the difference?
I mean, sure, that you can get into really deep philosophical stuff about how can you even, is there such a thing as an objective good or bad? But for like basic practical purposes, it tends to, what comports with what's considered normative behavior or polite behavior. I think also I personally go off of the golden rule, and that tends to work pretty well in schools of just, is that really how you would want to be treated, or even how the average person would want to be treated? I can't say, sorry, your question initially was, is it bad versus is it a cultural difference? I think sometimes it could be a cultural difference, and I'm sure that could absolutely explain some of the results differences we see, maybe with like referrals, maybe in certain school districts or something like that. But like, I'll give you an example. In Portland, about 8-10 years ago, they got in trouble for having way more Black kids, or a much higher rate of Black kids getting suspended and expelled than white kids. And so as a result, Portland Public just basically turned around and just stopped suspending Black kids, period. It didn't change the behaviors experienced in the schools, just because there was this a statistic that showed the systemic racism. And my experience at Portland Public is that the average teacher is extremely liberal. And when I first was a teacher, I was extremely liberal. Like I was an anarchist. I was in Black Bloc, if you know what that is. Mm-hmm. It was like proto-Antifa. So like that, the same thing when I taught in the Bay Area, when I was in Oakland, when I was in San Francisco, the teachers are not these like conservatives that are trying to, or these like Karens, or like these racists that are trying to like catch the Black kids. If anything, at least in the places that I worked, the Black kids got way more latitude, and a lot of the teachers would try to like, give them more latitude and give them more rope. Okay, but I'm not saying that's true across the country. I'm sure there's rural places that's not true.
I got you. Here's the thing. I'll say 2 things. Number one, well, 3 things actually. Number one, there could be overcorrection, right? Like you just don't discipline the Black kids at all. That's an overcorrection. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so that's number one. I don't think anyone doubts that. But number 2, most of the Karens that I've met were liberals. Like nothing stops them from being racist.
Fair.
You know what I mean? So,
or at least they're Democrat. At least they're DNC in line.
Right. Sure. Exactly. So, but the third thing that I would say, just to get back to your because I didn't want to go too much on a tangent. The studies that were done on the children, where it shows that they were doing the exact same behaviors. What they did like eye tracking technology. To look at children playing into in a group, right? So they did this over and over with several teachers. What they did is that they had kids draw things and share their toys. Basically, what they saw is that immediately, once the Black boy came in, the eyes immediately shifted to him. That's one thing that they noticed. But they also noticed that when they instructed one of the white boys to do a certain behavior, and then they instructed a Black boy to do that same behavior, they marked the Black boy down as misbehaving, but they didn't do that for the white boy. You see what I'm saying? So this was shown over and over again in that study. So when we look at stuff like that, that already shows that there's a bias there. And when they actually showed those results to the teachers, a lot of the teachers said the exact same thing that you did. Like, I don't believe in racism, and et cetera, et cetera. But there was clearly an inbuilt bias there already. Even though those teachers don't see themselves as racist, there was an inbuilt bias of like, hey, this white kid did the same exact behavior as this Black kid, but you didn't mark them down. You see what I'm saying? So it's like there's already a built-in bias from the time that they're young. And now you taught middle and high school. When it comes to middle and high school, a lot of times those reinforced behaviors of, you're a bad kid, et cetera, et cetera. They get reinforced in the mind, so they end up doing that when they're older. Like the what's that called? I forgot what it's called. Like the bias effect. I'm not sure what it's called.
Confirmation bias, maybe.
Exactly. Now that doesn't excuse poor behavior, of course. It doesn't excuse poor behavior. But that coming from exactly from the so that's what I was talking about. Self-fulfilling prophecy, basically. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, essentially, where they're told from a young age that their misbehavior or their problem child, they're gonna go into middle school and high school, like repeating that same behavior. You see what I'm saying? That's what I would say. So I think it's conditioning. Someone in my comments said that it's conditioning. So we need to look at it as an overall thing, because I don't think that Black children are just automatically misbehave from the cradle. Like something is learned there.
Oh no, I don't think. I wouldn't argue that. I don't. I would agree. I mean, there's a debate in every part of social science, including education, about nature versus nurture. That's like the classic argument in every social science, is how much is nature versus how much is nurture. In my experience in the studies is that generally it's a bit of both. And honestly, it seems like the more we find out about brain science and biology and genetics, we're finding more and more it seems to lean towards environment, but we know, nature, but we know nurture has like huge impacts on so much. So I would never argue that the results we see in society from any population's behavior comes from this singularly a priori way that they're born. But I do think there are genetic components to behavior. I don't know if they're strong enough to explain the huge spread that we see in some of the behaviors in our country, for example, or even across the world. But I do think there is some. If you wanted to go down that rabbit hole, I would be fine with sitting and saying, for a practical standpoint, we might as well treat it as though it's coming 100% from culture. Because even if we can say, 5-MAO warrior gene, this group has a much higher rate of this warrior gene that has lower impulse control and higher rates of violence. Okay, even if we can determine that, which we can, what are we going to do about it? We're not going to like have some Nazi regime where we're going to do, we're going to like genocide all the people with the MAO warrior gene, right? So we might as well treat it as though all the problems are coming from culture, one way or the other. And I would agree with that. And then the problem becomes, how do we talk about the problems within Black culture without it becoming us being called racist or us being racist? And then how do we get the Black community to also be okay with that, right? I mean, it's hard from both sides. No one wants to be told, hey, you guys aren't great at this thing, especially by people that have historically been assholes to y'all. Right. I totally get that. I'm not Black or white. I come from a group that commits the lowest crime. And like, that's another topic we could talk about, is like you were talking about multi-generational wealth, and I think it's important, but man, in my culture, in my experience, we didn't have a chance to do multi-generational wealth. We came here after a war in the 1980s and 90s, and then that's it. And then we just made it work. I'm not saying that like everyone can do that, but there is something to that.
Mm-hmm. Well, what group are you from?
I come from Vietnamese people.
From what?
Vietnamese, Vietnam.
Oh, Vietnamese. Okay, yeah. So what's been shown in the United States is that Asians are basically the model minority. Yeah, I mean, and the reason why that is.
I know about the model minority myth.
Yeah, exactly. So that's basically where all that comes from. There's like less concentration on like racial oppression on Asians in this country. It's just the way it is.
Wait, are you just to be clear, are you trying to say that Asians have like the highest rates of success and the lowest rates of crime because the system like just gives it to us?
Right. Like it just doesn't focus on you at all. Like when it comes to
that's fine, buddy. I'm cool with that, but then there's still a big problem. I'm okay with that premise. Because I actually would agree. Society is definitely less racist to Asians. Like blacks are absolutely receive the worst racism and worst preconceived racism. I would already agree with that. But there's a problem when your other premise is that this is a white supremacist system that was built to reward whites. How are Asians able to do better than whites at it? If it's simply because we get less racism than blacks, I'm sure that helps us. For sure it does. But it doesn't explain how we can do better than whites, both in the positive statistics and the negative statistics. Employment, education, and crime rates, we like crush them. So how are we succeeding in this white supremacist society if we still receive some racism more than whites?
Less like poverty. You're less likely to be poor.
Right, but if we came here in poverty, then
most Asians didn't come here.
That statistic got created from our actions,
right? But most Asians didn't come here in poverty. Most Asians came over in like the when it comes to immigration into America, right? Immigrating to America is pretty expensive. So the people who come into this country, like when it comes to Asians and even African immigrants, most of them are coming in from parents who are already
you're
well
talking
off
about
in their
chain
countries.
migration,
right? They're
you're
already
talking
coming
about chain migration, and that's not the case for every people group. You need to look at refugee people groups.
Right, I know that, but even in a refugee people group like Somalis, right? Somalis do pretty well as well in their refugee group. So I don't want to say that it's like a 100% like a cultural thing. Like we have to look into. Is there something within Asian or even East Asian culture where there seems to be a lot less violence, right? And there are sociologists who looked into this. There's a reason why, there seems to be a lot less violence within Asian groups is because it's built on certain within Western society. Our society is built more on individualism, where the honor is built more on individualism. But within Eastern society, the honor is built
versus individualism.
Exactly, collective. The honor is based on more collective than it is with the individual.
Right.
And
so
that mindset
you would agree with me
violence.
that they have a superior culture then.
I don't want to call it.
You're agreeing that.
No, I disagree with the
superior in this metric in a singular because there's no singular superior.
I don't.
But of course, there's in metrics.
Hold on. I don't agree with superiority at all. That's what I would say. I would say that.
Okay, well, who's a superior basketball player, Kobe Bryant or me?
But that's different, bro. That's about skill. It's not about culture.
Oh well, that's fine, but it's a behavior you can measure. Like you can measure any behavior. You can measure the free throw scoring, right? You can measure.
But those are skills, bro.
Whatever, puzzle solving.
That's a skill.
But socializing is a skill too. Being able to interact with others without getting violently angry, that's a skill as well.
Right? No, it is. I'm not gonna say that it's not a skill. Of course, that's a skill. But most people can socialize with others without being violent.
Right, but some cultures seem to do it at much higher or lower rates than others. You just admitted that East Asian culture is built around these ideas and fundamentals that have been created. So East Asian that lead to less violence.
So East Asian cultures are built more around collectivism, like holding the collective together. Right. And Western society is built more on the individual. So when you get that, sometimes you're going to get more violence, right? So like that's just the way it is. You're going to get more violence when you're more individually based. But like what I'm saying is that I don't think just because that's the case, that makes East Asian culture superior to Western Asian culture. Like I don't agree with.
Wait. Okay, maybe we're still talking past each other. I would never argue that you can say a culture is singularly superior to another culture in a holistic way, because that involves way too many dynamics to measure all at once. But I think you're just getting hung up on the word superiority or superior because it does have a lot of baggage with it. So I don't need to use that word. We can use a simple word like better. Like anything you can measure, you can say, you can compare the differences of, and then you can put a judgment on it. You can get into the philosophy of, is there even such a thing as objective good or bad? That's a whole nother conversation, but we can say, like, you can measure the way I run versus the way you run, and I bet you run better than me. But I'm just because I'm chubby, bro, not because you're black. But
I was in the military, so
either, right?
Yeah, I was in the military, so I probably run better than a lot of people.
You're probably athletic for multiple reasons, right? And that's a whole nother discussion. That's a real thing too. Like genetics is real. It has biological outcomes. Like it's been studied. It's been researched in the hard sciences where they don't get as much slack. Like there's a great book called The Sports Gene that talks about this. Like different people groups are primed for different things, and that's okay. It's that we just get really butthurt when we attach all the social judgments to it, and people get really uncomfortable when we start to talk about the way the brain does things.
For example, East Africans are much better at running because of the way that marathon running, exactly. Because
they're better at marathon running, but not sprinting.
Exactly, not sprinting. And West Africans are better at like gridiron football and stuff like that. And sprinting, exactly, because they just are in different environments. That happens. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when it comes to things like intelligence and interactions, these are just these are things that we can't really how can I say this? It's a lot more complicated than, good and bad. You see what I'm saying? We it's not really something that you can necessarily measure that
that's
way.
fair. You don't have to do good. Well, that's not necessarily true. It's much harder to measure something like ability to socialize than it is to measure how fast you run a 100-meter dash.
Right, exactly.
But we can measure plenty about behaviors. And social sciences has done this for years. If you read the literature in psychology, they don't like to do it with race, but they love to do it with like gender, for example. And the social sciences psychology has no problem saying, look, we've done hundreds of studies on millions of men and women, and on average, this is the way a male brain tends to think and work, and this is the way a female brain tends to think and work. Now, society or individuals can put a moral judgment of good or bad on the way those trends work, and often there is like a reason to put a good or bad, but that's like up to the individual to be mad about that. Like the phenomenon is happening one way or the other. We can then figure out, is it a natural phenomenon, or is it because of environment? Is it something that we could change? Is it malleable? Those are all fair discussions, but I think we get really hung up with people just get super butthurt when the difference is pointed out in the first place.
No, wait, which is exactly with what we see. Like for example, when it comes to like the big one, right, race and IQ. We see that IQs change with environment. You know what I mean? Like African children.
And then they go back in adulthood.
Right, like African children, like who are adopted, and move to like Ireland or the Scandinavian countries. Their IQ tends to jump whenever their IQ jumps, and it stays. Their IQ basically changes when they change environment. You know, if I'm saying like a kid from like the backwaters of Africa could have an IQ of like 70, and then he moves to Ireland and he gets better nutrition, better environment, and then it just jumps over the next 2 years like 20-30 points. So that shows that it's malleable, right? Now, are there genes that are associated with your IQ?
The studies are more complex than that.
No, they're more complex than that. They're more complex than that. I'm not saying that they're not complex. Of course, they're more complex, but I think when it comes to when we look at what brains do, we see that these are a lot more complicated than the averages that we try to put in. They just are. Yeah, I mean, especially when we look into it.
Yeah, no, the brain is super complex. Yeah, absolutely. And we don't know enough to make like concrete judgments about anything where that we should make like legal policy around, but we can certainly make observations. There's more research. You should probably read a little bit about like the Minneapolis twin study is a really famous one. Because it showed, these twins were separated at birth, were multiple sets of twins separated at birth, raised by different sets of parents. And when they're children, you see exactly what you just described. The kid that ends up with the richer, better off parents has a higher IQ. They ate better, they got tutoring, they went to better schools. Okay, but what's fascinating about it is when they re-studied them when they were in their early and mid-20s, the IQs renormalized. And the twins ended up having basically the same IQ at the end of the day. So what we have actually found in the research, and we found this with way more than the Minneapolis twin studies. That's just a famous one. We've got tons of studies that show the same effect. IQ is super malleable when you're young. And then even when you get a bunch of extra education and attention, by the time you're 25 to 30, it renormalizes. You can still get like a permanent couple points, but you're not getting standard deviations, dude. And nobody is getting 20, 30 points. Like that's just freaking crazy. Like you're talking, that's the difference between a genius and a smart person.
No, I was kind of exaggerating, not 20, 30 points, but it does show that IQ is really, really malleable. I do have Jay up here. Jay, how's it going? Were you listening to the conversation?
I was, but I'm just listening because I'm trying to understand what the conversation is about exactly. Why is this conversation is about IQ? What's this person, the white guy that's talking?
Oh, give me a second. His name is John 37.
John 37. Can you hear me?
Yeah. What's up, man?
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand what would be the point of you bringing up IQ? What are you getting at exactly? I
didn't bring up IQ. Oh yeah, the host brought up IQ. We were talking about different things that you can measure between different groups.
Okay, and so Volcy, the make sure that we're on the same page. What was the topic that you guys that you started with exactly?
We started off with systemic racism is real, and we were talking about within the education system. John brought up his experience in the education system, where I brought up that the fact that Black children are more likely to be criminalized within the education system, and he brought up the fact that in his experience, a lot of Black children were behaving worse. So I asked him, are the behaviors you see a cultural difference that you didn't understand, or is it objectively just bad behavior? And he did say that it could be something that he just didn't understand as of yet. So I brought up the famous study that was done a few years ago, where they took teachers and they looked at teachers and a group of students was inside a classroom, and all the teachers rated the Black child as being the worst behaved, the Black boy specifically, as being the worst behaved, even though he was doing the same exact behaviors as the white children. Yeah, I mean, which shows that there's a bias even from when we're young, and that bias can be reinforced. And the fact that he taught middle school and high school, it could be the fact that that bias was reinforced since they were young, and it followed them to their adulthood or to their their teenage years as a self-fulfilling prophecy. That and that's when we got to different groups of people do different things, and the fact that America is a white supremacist society, but Asians seem to be doing better on every metric than white people do. And I brought up the fact that
did he make that correlation again? Did he bring that up about Asian community? Did you bring that up, sir?
I stated the truth, the factual truth, that Asians do better on those measurable metrics than white people do. Supposedly white supremacist society.
Yeah, a very much white supremacist society, because you're spending too much time focusing on the Black community, making sure that they don't necessarily thrive education-wise, thrive in any form or fashion. That you use this Asian thing as a buffer. That you've been using it for centuries. For those who actually study history and actually know how these white supremacy tactics work, it's an old trick, new dogs. And so what we're saying is this is not something that is brand new, sir. This is very much intentional, and you very much uphold these said biases. Do you completely understand that integration into your set societies was the worst thing off into the Black community, is because you get to come up here and make these claims about how the Black students are behaving a certain way or whatever, or not to your liking, is because you don't necessarily understand. We're very much in your power structure. We very much go to your educational schools, which is based in propaganda and lies and white supremacy in the first place.
Oh,
and
Jay.
So what we understood.
Jay, sorry. I'm sorry. Just to clarify, John did say he's Vietnamese, but I don't think that takes away from your point though. But keep going.
Yeah, he's very much anti-Black, and you know what's very interesting is I've been to Vietnam. Vietnam is an amazing, beautiful country, and I find it very unfortunate that
it's very nice. I want to go,
sir. Yeah, it's a beautiful country. I've been a couple of times, and it's very unfortunate that you get to make these said claims. So we have to understand is that the reason why even Vietnam hasn't necessarily thrived and struggling the way it is because very much white supremacy and the West is keeping a hold on Vietnam. And I find it very funny that you spend most of your time focusing on how the Black community is not doing this, but yet you can't even spend the time to figure out why your community is thriving that it's not thriving the way it is, and the reason why you have to come to the United States in the first place. Maybe that you should spend more time focusing on why the West is continuing to enact imperialism and hold your country in political hostage, economic hostage, where the educational system, the infrastructure said in Vietnam. The quote unquote third world country where they like to call it. I just find it funny that you spend more time focusing on that. Vast majority of the Black community in this nation knows very well what's happening and what's going on. Integration was the worst thing that we could have ever done into integrating to a society of people that have systems that are constantly oppressing us. In these said educational systems that you like to bring up, where they strip us of resources such as food banks, such as access to extracurricular activities, tutoring, set home economics, set things for people to actually go out in society to do better. And I find it funny that, sir, that you as an Asian person that also doesn't necessarily benefit from racism, that's very much harmed by the set system, will come up here and make these white supremacy ass claims. Let me tell you something. They're not going to pick you, bruh. They're not going to pick you.
They're not going to pick you. It's crazy.
Your proximity to whiteness doesn't make you any better than
He thought it was me interrupting him.
Last time I checked, they would unalive your ass as well as I would. I mean, as they would me. So I find it funny that you spend more time focusing on us. We never asked for this. We never asked to be integrated in this set system. We actually want to be educated by our own communities. As much as you think about it, the Vietnam, do you find it that you see Europeans running over there to fucking Vietnam and educating your community? Do you see that happening? Excuse me, are you there?
Go ahead, John.
Oh, I thought you were still doing all the rhetoric. Well, did you have the actual question?
I'm asking you a question now. Do you see that Europeans, such as the West, is over there meddling in your educational system, where they get to tell you and dictate what and teach whatever they want you to know? Do they do that over there in Vietnam?
I've never been to school in Vietnam.
I'm not asking you, have you ever been to school in Vietnam? I'm asking you a general ass question. Do they have control of the educational system in Vietnam, or do the Vietnamese people do?
The Vietnamese Communist Party has primary control of the education system in Vietnam.
I don't give a fuck about the Communist Party. You don't even know what is communism. What is communism?
All right, so John,
are you talking about like Marxist Red Book communism?
Hey, hold on, everybody pause. Everybody pause because everybody pause real quick.
Rhetoric.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jay. Give me a second.
I'm on fire.
I know. I got you. All right. So, John, I don't think you're getting the point of what Jay is pointing out. In Vietnam,
no, I get exactly his rhetoric.
Right. So in Vietnam, the Vietnamese.
Rhetoric. What is the rhetoric?
Hold on, pause, you guys. In Vietnam, the Vietnamese are the ones who actually run the education system. So your history, the way that you're taught, the way that Vietnamese kids are taught that's culturally appropriate for them is controlled by the people that they know and et cetera, et cetera. Here in the United States, it's not like that. Right. All right. The education system is not for black people. Are not. Dude, hold on, John. The education system in America. Hold on. In America, the education system that black people are going through is not education system that's taught to improve our lives or for us or culturally even appropriate for us, because like our entire history from Africa all the way to the Atlantic slave trade all the way till now is just a footnote. We don't get taught culturally the way that we're supposed to be taught. So the entire system is built against us. Does that make sense, John?
But Volcy, but the thing is, he knows this shit, and this is where Volcy, that you and I just like, because if he's saying that he was an educator with critical thinking skills, if he had them. And let me insult your intelligence here. I don't even think that you even have the basic understanding to actually have the conversation, because even if you were an educator, you would clearly see that is very much happening. You could just come up here and say that you hate black people, and you could just say that you don't like black people and you don't know why. What we learned in school about Vietnam, I don't know if you noticed this because you're also in school and seems how dense you are, is that the Vietnamese got their asses whooped by the United States. So that's what we learned in school about the Vietnamese war. Even though that we know that's not the truth, most of us that have self-educated themselves and actually understood what the Vietnamese and what they did and how they enacted and how the West got their ass whooped. That's not what they're teaching here in the United States. They're teaching that they got their asses whooped. So I find it funny that you, sir, upholding white supremacy and having proximity to whiteness is going to get you anywhere, because it's very much not. Just because you want to hold some form of capital, it's very much not. Everything about it is very much oppressive. I think that you also is very much deeply insecure about the things that's necessarily going on with that you want to grapple and hold on to whiteness that you don't even fucking benefit from in the first place. So the question I asked you again, and I know that you made a lie that you call yourself doing a straw man argument. You said that I said that the educational system is not good. Did you make that statement?
Yeah, you were just criticizing the Vietnamese education
excuse
system.
me, I didn't criticize the education in Vietnam. I never said I never criticized this. See, this.
Oh, forgive me for mishearing you, then, buddy.
Me. Yeah, because you're a fucking liar. And that's the thing. You're also a bigot and you're a liar, because I never made that statement about the educational system that's going on. I asked you, does the West have control of the educational system in Vietnam? That was the fucking question I asked you. I didn't ask you about the quality going on in Vietnam. So I'm going to need you to stop fucking lying.
Yes, sir.
So again, I'm going to ask you again. Now, does the West have control of the educational system in Vietnam? Yes or no?
Not currently, sir. No, sir, not currently.
Oh, okay.
150 years ago, sir. When the Catholic French were there, sir.
No, don't come crashing out fucking now. So again, if I don't have control of my own community's educational system, and I'm also enacting types of forms of oppression where I get to dictate on what people read, what the type of resources they get, because there's a thing called property taxes here. Do you know about property taxes in the United States?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So the property taxes are not equally distributed throughout the United States, where they actually spend more property taxes in more said white tea communities, where they get more resources, such as computers, such as access to different languages, the courses and things like that. So what I'm confused is, though, that if you don't have set property taxes, because by the way, I could tell you, and I could give you an anecdotal experience of my own. I went from a county to a county. I'm from Georgia. So I went from a county where it was predominantly black, and I went to a county where I graduated from predominantly white. And I could tell you now the curriculums were totally fucking different. And I could tell you how so is because the things that I was not learning in the schools that was predominantly white, it didn't set me up for a better way of life. You know what happened? Vietnamese man. So when I transferred to the white tea community, white school, the school predominantly white, and I sat with a counselor, and my grades wasn't so well. It wasn't so good. She spent more time judging me, not understanding how I got here in the first place. How did this person not have the best schools or education to get to succeed in this set school that they call predominant, to be prestigious? And this is the thing is stripping people of said resources such as property taxes, not giving the access to things, not also taking the community and stripping them from access to food, access to all these types of things that I mentioned before. You're bound to have a society where we in survival mode. So that's what I told you. Integration was the worst thing. I'm pretty sure, Vietnamese man, that if white tea people decide to go to Vietnam and integrate your motherfucking asses into their set system, I'm pretty sure you won't be saying the same thing up here.
They did, bud.
All right, so John,
when they do that,
you know what French Indochina is?
We know what French Indochina is. So John, here's the thing. But so you understand the systemic problems within the United States that cause the issues for Black people in the United States, correct?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So when you want to talk about number two, you actually agree with number two already. Now you've been up here for about 30 minutes. I do have another caller. I'm gonna go ahead and take them in a second.
Hey, 1 second, host. Yeah. Give me 30 seconds, because what's your name really quick, host?
Volcy.
To Volcy. Sorry, excuse me if I misheard that. I'm saying it wrong. Just as an objective witness, have I been peaceful while the other guy spoke for like 5 straight minutes at me?
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, you didn't say anything.
You could be condescending, disrespectful. You could also being what the thing is called insulting our intelligence. Just because you're saying it in a nice way by insulting our intelligence doesn't make it fucking peaceful. Let me tell you something. I don't give a fuck about you saying it peaceful. At the end of the day, I would never be peaceful to ignorant, bigoted ass people that are also anti-Black and don't have anything to say or anything to contribute to my society. What you need to do is spend more time focusing on your fucking society and wondering why the curriculum in the United States are perpetuating a lie about your said country, about how you guys watched got your asses whooped and then and didn't do anything. So I think you should spend more time focusing on that. Yeah.
Volcy, should I just keep silent and let him keep going? Or
no, what you can do is log the fuck off. What you can do is log the fuck off, and I will never be peaceful to you bigoted, ignorant ass motherfuckers that want to uphold white supremacy and be next to it. I told you, you don't benefit from white supremacy, and they'll unalive your ass as much as I would, as much as they would do me. So you can suck my dick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn.
I could be educated and vulgar at the same time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
so just for the listeners above 80 IQ that have been listening can remember when Jay came in, Jay only listened for such a short time that he didn't even know what we were talking about. He needed to ask who brought up IQ. Hold on, but you've already demonstrated your low impulse control. You've already demonstrated your low impulse control for everybody for like 7 straight minutes.
Wait, Volcy, didn't a white man create IQ? Didn't a white man create a European white man?
That's the crazy thing about IQ too, because IQ was created to actually help out kids who were falling behind. Like the way that white supremacy took IQ was kind of crazy.
IQ was created in military tests, actually.
No, it was not. It was created by. It was not. See, that's why you're a fucking liar, and that's why.
Well, are you talking about Stanford Binet in France? Or are you talking about the U.S. Army IQ tests that were developed completely independently?
Guess what? Guess what, Vietnamese Asian man? Let me tell you something.
Oh, yes, I'm Asian. That's true.
Hey, I don't give a fuck what Europeans have created, because the thing is, I am very much
you care a lot.
Excuse me.
Seems like you really care.
Oh, you're the one caring, because you're the one upholding said systems and wanting to perpetuate and
I just have to make sure. Yo, pause real quick. Pause, guys, real quick. I'm sorry. Pause, guys, real quick. Okay, yeah. So I just needed to look up where it originated from. Yeah, it was Alfred Binet. Alfred Binet invented in 1905.
Yeah,
and it was
I know all this stuff, dude. Yes.
Yeah. It was actually to. Yeah. It was actually
one of us can actually name these things.
John, hold on.
Specifically, who did them and where they're from.
Guys, hold on. Everybody, hold on. Everybody, hold on. Okay, so yeah.
He didn't ask for that.
Yeah. So Alfred Binet invented it, and he invented it to actually help
Frenchman.
Frenchman to actually help school children who were falling behind. And the way that white supremacists have taken it is all the way to the left. You know what I'm saying? It's all the way out there, saying that different races are less smart than others, and which is kind of ridiculous. Would you agree with that, John? That saying that the IQ test doesn't actually tell you everything about intelligence.
Of course, an IQ test can't measure everything about intelligence, but it's by far the. Oh, buddy, Jay,
right,
could you try to control yourself a little bit, Jay?
Everybody, hold on. I'm sorry, everybody. I got you. I just want to get things back on track, guys. Before I get to 581.
Hey, Volcy, you can literally put me on mute, buddy, because you can see my mic doesn't move. You see, I'm quiet most of the time.
I got you guys. All right, guys, I got you. I just want to get us back on track. All right, so we can have. So we can end off the conversation productively. All right. So, John, you agree that systemic issues in America have caused all the issues that Black Americans face, like from social issues, cultural issues, all of that. You don't agree that systemic issues have caused that. All right.
No.
So, how do you?
Not
how would you explain?
You guys are responsible for yourselves.
John, stop. John, stop. John. Yeah, I knew it was coming. But John, all right. So if the systemic issues, John. If systemic issues then cause the cultural issues that we see with Black people, how do you explain those cultural issues existing in other groups of people who also faced similar systemic issues? You want me to give you some examples?
Yeah, how do you? Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and expound on that.
So,
since you got so much motherfucking energy for Black community.
All right. So
you don't even know why. You don't even know why you don't like the Black community.
Jay, I got you. Jay, I got you. Let me do this. All right. So, Native Americans have similar issues with Black people. For example, with alcoholism, with poverty. Hold on. John, I need you to be quiet for a second. When it comes to alcoholism, when it comes to community violence, when it comes to domestic abuse, they have similar issues. Indigenous Canadians also have similar issues. The Roma people from Eastern Europe, they also have similar issues. High crime rates, poverty, low educational attainment, et cetera, et cetera. All three of these cultures, African Americans, Native Americans, Indigenous Canadians, and Roma people, Eastern Europe, they all share systemic violence against them. They all were segregated. They all had resources taken from them.
Yeah.
Their communities were burned down. They all, hold on. They all face systemic oppression. Not only did they face systemic oppression like 100 years ago, whatever, but it continued into modern times. The East Roma people right now are still face some systemic issues. Like they face like discrimination, like even within the law over East Roma people, like still today. You see what I'm saying? Now, the thing that I want to point out to you, John, is that all four of these people do not have the same culture. Now, indigenous Canadians and Native Americans, they can have similar cultures, but their cultures are different. So African Americans and Native Americans and indigenous Canadians and East Roma people are four different cultural groups, but they all share the exact same problems and they all have systemic issues. So if systemic issues is not an explanation, how would you explain this phenomenon?
Oh, buddy, but you're okay. Now we're changing the language. You asked me, do I believe if systemic issues are the cause for all of the problems in the Black community? And of course, it's not.
Right. I didn't say all the problems. I said
I'm saying that it's none of them.
John. I didn't say all of that. I didn't say it caused all the problems within the Black community. Of course, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, cool.
Me and Jay can talk about internal issues. I said the contemporary cultural issues that we see. Go ahead, Jay.
You voted. You notice how you asked him a question about the said other communities and about tying it all together, but he still had some reason to run back to the fucking Black community. You are obsessed with the Black community. You're a fucking weirdo, and you need to spend more time focusing on your community and why your community is still the way it is. Just because you want to be a model minority list for the dumbass Europeans, you go ahead. That is very much your prerogative. But also, too, and I told you, I'm very much Afrocentric, and we're some of the oldest people on this planet. We're actually the oldest on this fucking planet, even older than your motherfucking asses. And the thing is this. Yeah, so the thing is this. We've created scientists. Have you heard of Alexandria? Has one of the oldest libraries in the world. And
the city in Egypt?
Excuse me. And so the thing is this, we're coming from some of the most educated scholars and stuff. And so it sounds like to me you're very much jealous and you're very much hateful, and you don't even know why. Because last time I checked, we don't even have Asian community in our mouths. We let alone even have the Vietnamese community in our mouth. And to be honest with you, if you ask vast majority of the white community where Vietnam is on the map, they couldn't fucking tell you. So I think you should spend more time, if you've so much fucking concern about the Black community, maybe you should figure out why the white community is very much uneducated on simple things. You know, they just run to the definition for set systems that's been around for past centuries. They never have the functionality on how things work, how capitalism works, how misogyny, racism. They just go to the basic ass definition. That is very much moronic. And so I just find it funny that you spend so much time focusing on the Black community and what the Black community does, knowing that we are in so much of these conditions is nurtured in a set society that's not benefiting us in the first place. Is very much for oppressed. But the system that is very much benefit from the people that has benefited from a set system are very much stupid. They don't even know how things function.
I'm sorry,
and
Jay.
Also, before
Jay, I'm sorry. Go and land for me because we do got to move on to the next caller. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm gonna land on this one and I'll be done. But before you go,
can I have like 10 seconds when this dude is done?
Yeah, as soon as you sure can have 10 seconds.
Come on, let's be honest, dude.
Substance to say. Let me tell you something. We understand that the French man created this IQ thing. I would never atone or even give a fuck about what the Europeans think or what they created, because that shit doesn't belong to us in the first place. You can hold on to that bullshit all you want to. I don't. Okay? You have a wonderful night. All right, you take the 10 seconds.
You too, buddy.
All right.
Okay, cool. Am I good to Volcy? Is he done?
You go ahead and take your 10 seconds.
So Volcy, could you please put the guy on mute for 20 seconds, man? You know I've been quiet. You can see my mic hasn't been moving the whole time he's talking.
No one gives a fuck. Answer. Go ahead and answer. You put your 10 seconds on. Stop bitching.
All right. Go. So Jay, go ahead and give him a chance.
Let's see if we
John,
can
go ahead.
Let's see if we can have adult impulse control and demonstrate normal adult maturity. Let's give it a try. Here we go.
You're not even
have a cookie. You can have a cookie if we can do it.
Are you
we
going
failed.
to
Let's
get
try
to your
again.
point
Let's start.
of what?
This is exactly how I work with my special education students.
I
Actually,
don't give a fuck,
we start the timer over when you can't do it.
All right, guys.
You just want to argue.
Okay.
What a miserable piece of shit.
All right.
So
John, just go ahead.
I'd love to say something relevant if the dude could just stop. The whole problem started with that he cannot answer, and I'd love to hear your answer too. If it is a purely white supremacist society, which I'm actually okay with ceding to you, that this is a white supremacist society, we still have to contend with the fact that you have a non-white group who is outperforming whites in a white supremacist society. They are outperforming them in the positives and the negatives. They commit lower crimes in every single category except for illegal gambling, because Asians love their gambling. I'm happy with saying it's a cultural problem. That's you and I were already agreeing on so much stuff before this dude came in here and started freaking out. I already agreed that there's systemic racism. I agree that it's actually historical racism, and systemic racism is an explanation for the majority of what I would call toxic aspects of Black American culture that we see today. I think that's where the majority of it comes from. I think that disagreements for me tend to come where we talk about how much agency and autonomy do Black people have today to act for themselves. Right. And I want to give you guys the benefits of the doubt that you have a bunch of it. So number one, we have to contend. Just two things, and and I'll hang up, and you can just you say everything. Two things, and then oh my God, Jay, we failed, buddy. It's okay. Volcy, let me get two things, and then I'll hang up, dude. And then you can just say whatever you need to say to Volcy.
Okay, so say
two quick things.
Last two things. Oh, go ahead. Last two things.
All right, thank you, man. And then I'll hang up, and you can just take a run on me, okay? So the two things that everyone that's listening, that's being objective and trying to know the truth. One, you have to contend with that there's non-white groups that outcompete whites, and it's not just because they do chain migration and already come as doctors and lawyers. It's because plenty of them come as refugees. You have to be able to explain the Vietnamese from the 80s through the mid-90s through the late 90s. There was not a lot of chain migration by then. There's plenty of other refugee groups that are able to do it. There's Black groups that have been able to do it at higher than Black American groups because, probably they didn't have a systemic. The evolution didn't magically stop at the cranium. Okay, so the brain is super complex. I don't know if we'll ever be able to measure it to where we can make like concrete statements about different groups, but the same way that you can observe that the Nilotic East Africans are dominant at marathon running, and that like Igbo peoples from Ghana and Nigeria are dominant at sprinting, we can make observations about genetics and evolutionary traits that probably led to some of the intelligence differences and ways of culture differences that we see. If a people group had a plan ahead for 6 months because of the weather, if they're going to respond differently than a people group that had like fresh fruit and fish available to them 24/7, like tropical island peoples are going to develop differently than Nordic peoples or people in I think that's why we see those things coming out of China and
okay, John,
right. Okay, so anyway, I'll get off now.
No, John,
Jay had a great time chipping out, and I'm out of here, bro.
John, I just want to go ahead and respond to the last thing you said, because there was actually a recent study that came out that said that weather doesn't explain IQ. It doesn't at all. Because I'm not an expert in reading that study, but it was a study that they came out that said that has nothing to do with it at all. But the second thing that I would say that you brought up with when it comes to white supremacy in this country and why Asians do better. Number one, like you already admitted in the first thing, there is less racism aimed towards Asians, and number two, economics explains it a lot. Like the Black groups that you said that do better than African Americans, a lot of them came over.
But you gotta
hold on. A lot of them came over that were already upper echelon. Like for example, the Nigerians. A lot of Nigerians who came to America were already doctors and lawyers over in Nigeria. So of course over here they're gonna do well.
Already acknowledged that, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. So economics explains a lot of this. It's not just people are smart or whatever.
Of course, right, for the groups that applies to.
I appreciate you, John. All right, I appreciate you, John. Like for real, you're up here for almost an hour, and I do appreciate the call. Jay, how's it going, bro? I'm gonna bring someone else up. We're gonna go ahead and try to talk to him. All right, I appreciate you, though, Jay.
I just and one last thing to John. I'm pretty sure he left already. Good thing he left. I just find it funny that John is spending way too much time focusing on the Black communities. Like no one's thinking about the Vietnamese people, or even our community's not even thinking about them. It's very fucking weird. Why are you obsessed with us, bro? Like, get the fuck over it.
All right,
Fucking weirdo.
We're gonna talk to 581. 581, how's it going? 581. Are you at? What is? Can I get your name, age, and what did you disagree with on the board? You there, 581?
Are you talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, my name is Cornelius.
Cornelius?
And yes.
Okay. Age?
And then what was the other questions? I'm sorry, that conversation distracted me. What was the other questions?
No problem. Cornelius, and can I get your age and what did you disagree with that on the board?
Okay, I'm 35.
35.
And then I gotta have to look at the.
Okay, so the things I have on the board is being woke is good, systemic racism is real, Black Americans should get reparations, why should Black people be Republicans, and when was America great for Black people? Those are all my topics.
I really just called because someone told me to call in about they didn't understand that I said culture isn't real, and they wanted me to call in.
Okay, that's what you wanted to talk about. All right, so yeah, I'm the one who told you to call in because I didn't understand what you meant by culture isn't real. But just to make sure, anything that I had on the board, did you disagree with any of those?
No, being woke is just being aware, just basic awareness.
I got you. But
systemic racism is real. I mean,
okay, so you agree with everything I had on the board.
Yeah. I mean,
okay, cool. Yeah.
It's just pretty obvious.
Okay, gotcha. So you agree with everything. I just didn't know what you meant by culture isn't real. I didn't understand what you meant by that. Like, yeah, what does that mean? Because I was trying to understand that. What does that mean?
Well, I look at like the world in like a higher level, and I don't mean that in a pretentious way. I mean in like just seeing how everything's just kind of shifting, how other people, they all essentially do the same thing in different ways. That's literally it. It's just like different flavors. And then everybody's like, this is my unique culture. It is not. Other people have been doing it before you. And for me, culture just feels like the reason why systemic racism and all this stuff is happening. People have this perception that they're so special.
Gotcha. So we should view ourselves as one global people instead of like our different cultural things, because when it comes to culture, right? Culture is things like, you know, food, religion, language, mannerism, beliefs, things like that, right? So the reason why we say like there are different cultures, like for example, I'm Haitian, right? Over in Haiti, there's Haitian voodoo that has different spirits. It has one grand god and everything like that, and you interact with those spirits in a certain way. Now, I have a lot of similarities.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, just give me 1 second. So I'm sorry, just give me 1 second. I got you. But I have a lot of like cultural similarities with like I have a lot of cultural similarities with like for say African Americans, right? Like we a lot of our food looks the same, a lot of our mannerisms are kind of similar and stuff like that. Even like the way that we speak, you know what I mean? Like you know, the TH becoming a D, even a lot of that is culturally similar, right? But do African Americans do Haitian voodoo? No, they have something called hoodoo, which is very different from Haitian voodoo. You see what I'm saying? So that's why we would say that there are cultural differences. Yeah, if that makes sense, Cornelius. But I'll give you a second, Cornelius. I think Jay had a question for me. Jay, what was your question?
Well, it wasn't necessarily a question to you as I thought about it, asking you the question, but I figured to ask this white man the question that actually upholds white supremacy. Is very much a culture. And I find it funny coming from him that don't have culture, that stripped his ancestors stripped the culture away from them to uphold fake ass social constructs to tell us that we don't necessarily have culture. Because last time I checked, I don't remember Europeans doing voodoo or hoodoo. Do you remember that, white T-man? What's your name, by the way?
Cornelius is his name.
Oh, Cornelius.
Cornelius, when did history from the time we can go back to the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th century. I don't know if you're familiar with European history during that time. Were they doing voodoo or hoodoo culture?
No, I don't think
within
so.
culture,
but they were praying to people. They have their own spiritual stuff.
Right, exactly. So that's why cultures are different.
They all do the same thing, and everyone just thinks they're special.
Excuse me. excuse me, that apparently they all don't do the same thing. Could you tell us? Can you give us examples of what, how does voodoo is practiced? Can you tell us that?
No, I just know that you guys are believing in a spiritual thing.
See, listen, the thing is, we don't need any assumptions. We need you to know what you're talking about. So if you don't know how voodoo,
it's not an assumption, and you agree that voodoo. I mean, you overtalked the last guy.
So I did. Hey, I'm talking to you.
If you don't leave space for anyone, how are they supposed to talk?
Have I overtalked you?
You overtalked the last guy.
Also, I'm not going to allow you to escape away from the bullshit that you tell. That's the thing. And the reason why you're talking over me, the reason why you're talking over me is because you don't want me to ask you questions that you've already stated. So are you there, Volcy? Are you there?
No,
I'm still there. I'm still there.
You're doing guys, everybody that's talking to you.
Pause. One at a time, guys. One at a time. So Cornelius, Jay is asking you an actual question that goes deep into what you were saying, right? You're saying that all these people are just doing the same thing, and everyone thinks that they're special. However, just like how you said, the ancient Nordics were worshiping Thor. The ancient Africans didn't have a Thor. You know what I mean? We had Shango and Damballa, but we didn't have a Thor. You know what I'm saying? So like these are different cultures. So when we say culture is hold on, Cornelius, hold on, just a second.
There you go. He's talking over you.
Yeah, exactly.
Over you.
So Cornelius, look, when you say culture isn't real, that's why I was asking you what exactly do you mean by that? Because obviously Igbo and Arabic are not the same language, so that would be a different culture,
Absolutely
correct?
Not. Yes, it is.
Okay.
And also on top of that, Cornelius, don't they have different practices? You know, the thing that you're talking about, how we talk about religion, for example, and we talk about Judaism or Catholicism or even Islam, even though that you make this claim about how they're reaching for something bigger than themselves, a God, right? But are the practices the same?
No.
Oh, why not?
That's not what I was saying. You're leading me to another. That's literally. I wasn't saying any of that.
Religion a part of culture?
This is what I'm saying. So you don't have any confusion.
I'm asking you a question. Is religion a part of culture?
You've asked me several questions. I've answered it. It's my turn now.
No, you're not asking the question.
You just want to hear yourself talk?
I'm asking you a question.
No, I'm not trying to move on. I'm trying to have the conversation with you, and I'm trying to tell you what my thoughts on the culture is.
All right. Okay, so what are your thoughts?
Let's move to what's your thoughts? Because you don't have anything of substance. Because for somebody that don't have culture shouldn't be talking about.
I'm not saying that to you. I get that
I know you don't have culture.
Very upset, but what I want to talk about is the culture thing.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'm not calling you out of your name.
All right. So okay. So I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Hey guys, give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Give me 1 second, guys. All right, y'all. I do appreciate everybody being here. We're almost at 30K likes over on TikTok. If you over on the Deconstruction Junction, call in within the next few minutes because I'm going to get off soon because I got homework and all that to do. It's going to be a short night. Join me tomorrow. I'm here every Thursday through Sunday. Thursday and Friday is 6:30 to about 8:30 and 9. On Saturday and Sunday is 3:30 to 6:30. So join me then. Go ahead and subscribe. I appreciate you all being here. Go ahead and follow me. I appreciate all the likes over on TikTok. And I appreciate the conversation over here on YouTube. So if you would like to call in, and if you're over on Twitch or Facebook, you can go ahead and call in as well. One more time, let's go ahead and get back to the subject. All right. So just like how you already have said and admitted, Cornelius, these people have different languages and different religious practices. That's what we call a culture. So we're so if you can go ahead and understand that, right? Like for example, I'll give you something. I'll differ a little bit with Jay here. Whiteness is not a culture because it just amalgamates all of you into one little pot. But Irish people have a culture. Italian people have a culture. The Spaniards have a culture, the Swedes have a culture. All you guys have different things, but the Western society puts you all in this little pot and they call it whiteness. That's the bullshit when we say exactly. That's the bullshit that we say that, hey, y'all don't have a culture. You're not white, you're Irish or German or or Italian or Spanish or French. You guys are this thing. It's just America is putting you all into this little pot and making it whiteness. But you have these different things that you are and can be. Does that make sense to you, Cornelius? That's why Jay is saying you don't have a culture, is because you're putting into a thing of whiteness. But you, Cornelius, I'm not sure where you're from, your background. Like, do you have like German or Swede or Austrian?
Rich.
What do you have, Cornelius? Do you know?
Can I say my thoughts on culture first?
No. You can say it. I just want to know what you had. I just want to know what your background is.
I want to finish what I'm saying first, and then
You already said your thoughts. That's why we're responding to it. You said that. You said everyone.
You're saying that everybody's different, and I want to rebuttal that. I want to rebuttal.
Yeah, I know you.
And you're not giving me a chance to rebuttal.
White supremacy that don't have culture, but the whiteness. Of course, you would say that. But also, before you say to expound your thoughts on what exactly, because there's nothing. You don't necessarily have an argument here. Is because when we think about
my argument is, if you let me talk, my argument is what I'm saying. Yeah, I would like to say it.
Okay.
So the point I'm trying to make is that yes, they all have different cultures, but they functionally do the same thing. They all end up with, you want to believe in a God. Mm-hmm. They're doing that to make them feel closer or bigger themselves or something like that. Or, we cook rice in a specific way. Mm-hmm. What makes that special?
I mean, what makes it special? I'm sorry.
So infatuated on how your mom and dad did things before you. Why is that such a big thing for you?
Mom and dad.
I mean, Cornelius, when it comes to that, now, I'm sorry.
Culture is passed on from parents to children.
Cornelius, I got you.
What do you mean?
Cornelius, I got you. All right. So,
that don't have culture.
Guys, pause real quick. I got you, Jay. I'm gonna let you answer that. I'm gonna let you get into it, Jay. But Cornelius, let me answer that. Really, Cornelius, the reason why is because essentially this goes down to like human psychology. This is how we operate. Right. It's simply how we operate. Human beings, like, for example, if we were like lion prides, right? Lion prides only exist in a pride of like 30, 40 individuals. That's a lion pride. But human society doesn't operate that way. Human society are societies of thousands, sometimes millions of people, right? And the biggest countries in the world have billions of people. So, yeah, when it comes to humanity, we're going to take what we got from our ancestors a lot more serious and a lot more part of our identity because we have more complex thinking. What you're saying is like, oh, why are we taking, how our mom and the people and within the millions of people within our group cook rice? Why do we take that seriously? Is because basic human psychology is going to say, yeah, you're going to take that. You're going to take that as part of your identity. You know what I mean? Now, that doesn't mean that we have to be against anybody else. Hold on, Cornelius. I don't mean to be against anybody else. Me in Haitian culture, right? I want everybody to participate in it. Matter of fact, when I have the Black Atheist Skeptics and Humanists Cookout, shameless plug, Black Atheist Skeptics and Humanists Cookout is coming this June. All right, Jay is definitely invited. Tahir is definitely invited. Shout out to Tahir, who's in my comments. Shout out to Jay, who's on the phone with me right now. You definitely invited. You know what I'm saying? When we have that, I want to share the way that Haitians cook rice with them because they're not Haitian, so they don't know. So I want to share it with them. I want to share the way that we cook chicken and everything like that. I want to share that with them because that's just human psyche. That's how we are. That doesn't mean that we have to be against anybody else, but we find it special because we take it as part of our identity. It's just things that we do over and over again is part of our identity, which is why it's so hard to get people out of religion, because they view religion as part of their identity. You see what I'm saying, Cornelius? Right. So that's what we take it seriously for. So when you say culture isn't real, I just didn't understand it. But for someone like Jay, who takes his culture extremely serious, he's gonna find that offensive. You know what I mean? Which is why he's coming at you like that, because it's like that seems like what are you trying to say here?
I'm not trying to be offensive to him. I just genuinely don't value culture like him. I see it as there's people passing on things to other people.
You very much value culture.
I just don't care. I can't say that.
Excuse me, you value someone else's culture because you don't have any. It's best definitely when it comes to.
I don't value anyone's culture.
You very much value.
I don't care what my parents told me to do years ago. There's one thing that you can say about me. I am an individualist.
Yeah, I know.
That's the one thing you can fault me on that.
Culture.
I don't like being codependent with other people.
You have no community. I mean,
anything I need or want, I get myself.
Yeah, Cornelius, for someone that shows up in society as a white man that sets individualism, that also has no community of his own, I find it very rich for you to say that, and knowing that you steal from other people's cultures to emulate it, and also to integrate said societies into yours because you have none. You also made the claim that systemic racism does exist. That is very much white culture, and I think that you should spend more time focusing on how much that's being much harmful, not only to said other racist community, but yourself. Is because it's very rich of you to get up here and make these claims, but yet you have no identity of your own. Does that make sense?
What do you mean? Well, you literally said that your identity is intertwined with your culture. You don't have your own identity. Your identity depends on your culture.
All right.
Yeah, when I wake up, think about you, Cornelius, and other white men. I'll let you know.
Yeah, that's all right. So the person who called in earlier, let me try to see if I could call you. The person who called in earlier, let me go ahead and call that person back.
Oh, Cornelius gone?
Oh yeah. He was that was it for him.
All right. Well, you have a wonderful night, Cornelius. You go to sleep tight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Not a problem. All right. I'm gonna go ahead and actually let me see where I'm at.
Well, see, you always try to end whatever time I come up. I swear, I think you be doing it on purpose now.
No, I really don't. I really don't, for real.
Yeah, you got to send me you got to send me the message to let me know you're up on live.
Yeah, man. So my live is Thursday and Friday, 6:30 to at least 8:30 to 9, and Saturday and Sunday 3:30 to about 6:30. Some Sundays it be going on later because I'm on with Black Atheist Rants, so we be going on for on and on and on. Yeah,
about religion.
Yeah, that's when we do the religion.
Oh one. Yeah, I see y'all lives about religion. Don't get me started on that now. I try to stay and listen and yeah, but y'all good. Y'all got that.
All right, that's why you invited to the Bash Cookout, man. That's why you invited to the Bash Cookout. You can definitely come through. All right, man. It's always good having you on, though, bro. But I'm gonna run because I got homework. I didn't start my homework yet, bro. So I gotta get that homework done. I ain't started on it yet, so I gotta go ahead and get that done. It's been a week, It's been one of those weeks.
You're in the university?
Yeah, I'm getting my master's in clinical mental health counseling. Which is why that's probably why I'm a lot nicer to the callers than you are, because I would have picked their brain first to see where they're headed and then get them to the conclusion. You know what I mean?
No, because I see through a lot of their bullshit, so I get straight to the damn meat and potatoes.
Yeah, you do.
They don't necessarily come up to actually reach for understanding. They very much to just perpetuate harm onto the said community they don't even understand or know. Mm-hmm. And so I just clock that shit.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
But bro, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. But I appreciate you though, man. All right.
Yeah, I appreciate you, and I'll talk with you soon.
Nah, problem. Talk to you soon. All right, guys, I am going to go ahead and get out of here. It was an early night, and hey, man, I appreciate all the likes, y'all. I do. I really, really do. I really do appreciate us getting to 32K likes. But I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here for now. Hold on, I think I may have one more caller. Do I have another caller? It's pointless to talk about our elites. Oh yeah. I mean, we could talk about the Epstein files. We can talk about those all day. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the Epstein files, y'all, I'll tell you right now, black folks not surprised. Black folks not surprised. Leftists are not surprised. We've been told y'all billionaires are bad people. We've been told y'all that billionaires are bad people. You know what I mean? So it's not like we're not surprised by any of this, bro. We're not surprised by anything that we're seeing right now. Leftists have told y'all for the past 3 to 4 decades that billionaires are not good people. We told y'all that. Even your favorite one, even Beyonce, they're not good people, y'all. They're not good people. I remember I saw a video where it said that billionaires can end homelessness right now and they won't do it. They wake up every day not doing it. You don't think all of them got each other's number? You don't think all of them got each other's number? Bill Gates has Elon Musk's number. He could call that nigga up right now. All right. Mark Zuckerberg got the number of Jay-Z. They got each other's number. Tyler Perry, he got Kanye West's number. They know each other. They roll in the same area. Now, I mean, they could call each other up right now and they could say, hey, y'all, homelessness in America is some bullshit. Let's go ahead and, pledge some of our money, put $20 billion together and, end homelessness. Let's go ahead and do that right now. They all could call each other up on a Zoom call and do that shit. They do not do it. Billionaires are not good people, man. Billionaires are not good people. And we've been telling y'all that forever. Black folks have always said these rich white guys all the way at the top abuse everyone. Black people have said that for years. We've all said the rich white guys at the top abuse everyone. We've always said that. So yeah, when we get these files of a bunch of rich white guys abusing people, you think black folks are surprised? We're disgusted, but we're not surprised. We're disgusted, but we're not surprised. Man, but I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. As a matter of fact, nah. Hey, Clay, go ahead and come on up, Clay. Did you want to talk about that? Also, as I've always said, y'all, if you disagree with something that I say on this live, the phone number is right there. Let's go for the YouTube. Over on the TikTok, you guys could just request up. I don't know why I do that for you. Just request up. But over on the YouTube, if you disagree with any of my monologues, anything that I say, the phone number is right there. Call, tell me why you disagree with it. I'm not a mean person. I'm not an asshole. It's right there. I've had hour-long conversations here. 786-751-7853. Right there. All right, Julius. Julius, I'll wait for you to call in. All right, Julius, you got five. There's Julius. All right. There we go. All right, 864. Is this Julius? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can I get your name, age?
Can you hear me?
I hear you. Can I get your name, age, and what did you disagree with?
Oh, yeah. So Julius, I'm 29. I don't really necessarily disagree with anything you're saying, but it's like this whole, this leftist we're right. I mean, that's just not true, man.
Have leftists not been saying that billionaires are abusive, horrible people that control society?
So what was going on during COVID? What was that?
That's not about billionaires. That's about just protecting yourself from a deadly disease that was killing people. That doesn't do with billionaires.
But who was telling you that? But what do you mean?
The scientific community.
Number one.
No, the scientific community. Like you realize that vaccines have been around for over 100 years and they've been proven to work, et cetera, et cetera.
I understand the vaccine. I understand vaccines work, but I mean, okay, you're on this whole race thing, and black people have been saying this for however long, and yeah, I agree with that, man. Like the Tuskegee experiments.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just supposed to believe people that, like they're like doing human experimentations. What's Bill Gates doing in India and Africa?
I don't know what he's doing in India and Africa.
mean, what are you talking about, bro?
I don't know what he's doing over there.
In Africa, that's where he's beta testing all these diseases. He's testing, AIDS vaccines. He's testing, vaccines for like different things. They're testing it on, these poor countries where the people can't, they don't have no FDA there. Julius, they don't have any regulations.
So Julius, I do agree that human testing on deadly diseases, on things like HIV and AIDS, right? Testing it on poor countries that don't have, the same strict guidelines or regulations that we have here makes Bill Gates creepy. I 100% understand that. I'm not arguing with you there, but when it comes to things like COVID, hold on, Julie, hold on. When it comes to things like COVID, it wasn't Bill Gates telling us to take the shot. That wasn't what's going on.
What are you talking about?
Vaccine. What are you talking about? The vaccine came out. The vaccine that came out. It came out that fast is because technology improves, and we all understand and know that, right? There was an mRNA vaccine,
so
and
it came out. You believe that?
Yeah. All right. Do we have any evidence to show the opposite?
Yeah, I mean, I could pull some up. I mean, I could. I'm on my phone right now, man. But this was all the rage. This was.
Right. I understand. I understand, Julius. I understand that taking the vaccine got politicized, right? It got politicized, and people were worried about it. I'm not mad at people being concerned. I'm not mad at people being cautious. I'm not mad about that. Hold on, Julius. Hold on, Julius. Hold on. I just need you for you to understand my position. I don't have any beef with people who were cautious. I understand that people were cautious about it. I understand people were a little bit wary, right? It's good to be cautious. It's good to be wary, but have those for good reasons. Saying Bill Gates does creepy shit over there, therefore the CDC is lying to you, is kind of crazy.
So, obviously we've established that elites lie.
Mm-hmm.
We understand that, right? Elites lie,
Right, elites lie.
But they weren't lying about the specific event, this highly televised, highly sensationalized event that divided people between, it divided people. I lost friends because, oh, you're crazy. You think that the CDC, why wouldn't they lie? Look how much wealth got redistributed over the course of since COVID, basically since the pandemic.
All right, when it comes to
all these politicians,
right,
they benefited off of this whole event.
Julius,
all these companies, Amazon.
Julius, hold on. Yeah, people benefited off of COVID because everybody was home. So Amazon shot up. Uber Eats, you made a lot of money during Uber Eats during that time. So Uber, their thing shot up. Yeah, all that is all good and well, right? But when it comes to COVID, when it comes to vaccinations against COVID, that came from the scientific community who are not the elites. But the second thing that I would say when it comes to COVID, the scientific community are not the elites, bro. They're not the elites. People aren't becoming astrophysicists in order to become billionaires and have access to Epstein. That's not what's going on.
We're not talking about astrophysics, man. We're talking about the biggest industry in America right now, which is the medical industry and the pharmaceutical industry.
Actually, I think it's the tech industry. As a matter of fact, I think the tech industry is the biggest one. Give me a second.
Well, if it's not the first, then it's the second.
All right, the biggest industries. No, as a matter of fact, healthcare is one of them. You're right. Healthcare is one of them. No, you're right about that. Healthcare is one of them. No, you're right about that. Yeah, you're right about that. Healthcare is one of them. All right, yeah. So healthcare is one of the biggest industries. That's true, right? And yeah, there's a lot of skepticism within healthcare, especially me as a black person. I have a lot of skepticism in healthcare, right? I get that, right? But
yeah,
when hold on, Julius. Hold on, Julius, hold on.
I'm half black, man.
Julius, I got you. Hold on.
You are.
Julius, hold on. Give me a second. Julius, give me a second. Okay, so I do understand why we as black people were skeptical towards the healthcare community. I do get that, bro. I understand that completely. But what I'm trying to say is that science does prove things, right? When science is the science, like just because we don't trust the healthcare industry all the way. Hold on, Julius, hold on. Julius, hold on. Listen, bro. I get that we have a lot of distrust for the healthcare community. However, does the smallpox vaccine actually work? Does the polio vaccine actually work? Do these things actually work? For example,
disagree that vaccines are like a real, like there definitely used to be crazy diseases throughout history,
right?
100%. But in our modern 21st century world, where we all have access to clean water, we're not living like on top of each other like just 100 years ago, about like 150 years ago, right before like the whole explosion of single family homes and stuff. People were like living on top of each other, like there was no privacy, right?
Yeah, I got you. All right,
people were all, it'd be like,
all right, Julius, I gotta
understand what I'm saying.
No, I understand what you're saying. Hold on, Julius. I'm gonna let you keep going, but I may have to get off soon because TikTok hit me with a misinformation warning. I don't know why. But I'm gonna have to get off soon. All right,
we're talking about the vaccine.
Yeah, we're talking about the vaccine. Yeah. I gotta get off soon, man. It sucks. I'll say with the misinformation, so they're gonna shut down my live in about 2 or 3 minutes. All right, but we gotta go ahead and wrap it up. But hey, definitely call in again and we'll continue the conversation. Would you mind doing that? I go on tomorrow again. All right.
Yeah, I'll call. What time?
I go on tomorrow, same time, 6:30 to 8:30. Go ahead and subscribe to me. And you'll go ahead and get the notification. All right. When you get off the call, just go back to YouTube, hit the notification bell, and then we'll talk again. All right.
All right, man.
All right. Yeah. That sucks. I'm sorry. Yeah, I apologize, you guys, but I got to go ahead and wrap up. But because TikTok hit me with a misinformation warning, so I'm gonna have to get off. Yeah, they hit me with a warning. But hey, guys, we got 40K. We got to 40K likes. I appreciate that, man. That's probably the highest amount of likes I ever had. We got to 41K. You guys are amazing. I appreciate that. I appreciate us getting to 41K likes. Over on the YouTube side, I appreciate y'all for watching. Of course. Over on the Deconstruction Junction and over on the Volcy Thoughts channel. I'm gonna have to go ahead and end this right now. All right, y'all. Phone line is closed, y'all. Phone line is closed. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. But I appreciate y'all for calling in. Unfortunately, I got hit with the misinformation, so they're giving me a countdown to shut down. And I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here because I don't want to get violated again. They violate me again, I'll lose my channel. So we'll go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here in a second. Marion, how's it going?
Yeah, how's it going, man? How you doing today, man? You being blessed?
Yeah, I don't believe in a God, but sure.
Ah, man. Well, God loves you, but I don't think being woke is good. I don't think being woke is a real thing,
Being woke is being aware of racial and social injustice. How's that bad?
Yeah, that's your opinion of it, but I don't know, man. I just feel like
that's where everybody
is so.
That's where it came from. That's the definition. That's where it came from.
Oh yeah. But I just feel like everybody is so soft in this day of age and stuff like that.
How so?
And because you can get canceled over a simple comment.
Yeah, if what you said is disgusting and bad, then yeah, you should face the consequences for that. What's the problem?
That's the problem. Everybody is so soft. You have to stop being soft, man.
It's not about being soft. It's not about being soft. It's like what you said is messed up. So you should face the consequences.
We got to bring back dark humor.
You can still have dark humor.
No, you can't, man. You can't, especially on TikTok. You'll get canceled on TikTok. Just for having.
You can have dark. There are plenty of TikToks There are plenty of TikTok pages that are literally built around having dark humor.
Okay. That's your opinion. Okay.
It's not my opinion. You can literally find them.
Okay, yeah. What is your views on homosexuality?
What about it? People are gay, so what?
But what is your views on it?
People are gay. Like, that's it.
So should they be gay?
It's not about should or shouldn't. They're gay. That's it.
What is the definition of should or shouldn't?
You just said should they like you know if they have my permission or if it's a bad thing that they are. It's not a bad or good thing that they are. They just are.
No, I think it's a bad thing, man.
Why?
Because, man, it goes against God's word.
Can you prove a God exists?
Yes. Can you prove air exists?
Yeah, molecules.
But you don't see them.
We can see molecules.
No, you cannot.
Under a microscope, we can see molecules.
Okay, I'll give you another example. You prove the dinosaurs is real.
Yeah, we have their bones.
But you never seen them.
We have their bones.
The same thing in the Bible. Everything in the Bible is in Africa and Egypt, but people still don't believe.
I mean, like the Bible does mention real places, but that doesn't mean that supernatural stories are real. How do you show the supernatural stories are real?
There's no such thing as supernatural now. There's supernatural stories. Everything in the Bible is real, you know.
People walking on water is supernatural, my friend.
No, he never said people walking on water. Jesus walked on water.
Yeah,
that's one person.
That's supernatural.
I mean, I don't really think it's supernatural, but you know,
that's the definition of supernatural. It's something that doesn't happen naturally.
All I'm saying is this, you know, we can't prove dinosaurs are real because we never seen them. You know,
we can prove they're real because we have their bones.
But have you seen them?
Irrelevant. We have their bones. I've never seen George Washington. I know he exists because we have his bones.
Okay, the same thing with Christ.
Yeah. Jesus. I'm not saying that Jesus didn't exist, but the story is that was he divine? Was he an actual God? That's the.
No. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I get it. I get everything you're saying now. Okay, and let me explain it. Jesus was the Son of God, God's word, in human form.
So you need to actually show that's true first. You just can't say that that it is. Just because the Bible says so doesn't make it true.
You just say that you just said that he was real.
Jesus was a real person. That Jesus could have been a real person. That doesn't mean that he had actual powers. Just because he existed doesn't mean all the legends about him are actually true.
No, of course he ain't had powers, but he had faith.
What do you call healing blind people? That's powers.
No, he asked the Creator, which is his Father, to establish that in the name of Jesus, and you know it happens. You know?
Right. So he gave him powers. That's how do you show that's to be true? It's a story in a book.
He gave him faith.
Right.
He didn't give him powers. He gave him faith.
But that's a story in a book. How do you know that actually happened?
How do you know that dinosaurs actually exist and roam around the earth?
Their bones.
But you never seen them.
Irrelevant. We have their bones. We know that they existed.
You never seen them.
Yes, we have their bones. That's irrelevant. We literally have their bones. How do you explain all the bones we have?
The same thing with air.
Yeah, you can see air molecules. All right, this is getting ridiculous.
See air molecules.
Yes, you can. If you look into an electron microscope right now, you tell me that you can't see air molecules. You tell me if you go to a university that has an electron microscope, you're not gonna be able to see air molecules. Really?
Air?
Yeah. Air is made from molecules. You understand that oxygen is made from molecules, right?
How do you know that oxygen is real?
Because we can actually. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I'm not gonna go ahead and waste my time anymore. I do appreciate y'all for being here. I'm gonna go ahead and I do appreciate y'all. We did get to 43K likes. That was just gonna be the last one I have. I don't know if that guy was trolling me or not, but we're gonna be on tomorrow. You guys are amazing. For the people who are crashing out in the comments once again about black people getting reparations, you can go ahead and call me tomorrow because all right, I had the number up, but I already closed out the line, so we're not gonna go ahead and talk anymore. All right, y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Remember, y'all, every man should be soft, that's secure, affectionate, wise, flexible, and trustworthy.